Good morning again, everybody. I'm very pleased to welcome today for the first time in Paris Fintech Forum, and I hope not for the last time, Nicolas, the chairman of Crédit Mutuel, the third retail bank in France. Nicolas, all people here thought we should have had a panel with Orange CEO, Mr. Stéphane Richard, and I have to apologize for him. As you know, he was there this morning at 8:45 because he has, let's say, just a guy just above me here, who is the president of France, Mr. Macron, who is organizing a big trip in Tunisia, and they are all going, I think they are now in the plane. So that's why at the last minute he had to cancel.
So we come together next year.
I hope so. I hope he will say yes again. So thank you for joining. First, in a few words, what's Crédit Mutuel?
Well, Crédit Mutuel is a very big bank. We are 82,000. We are the third bank on the French market. We have also subsidiaries in Germany, Spain, and we are very dedicated on retail banking.
So, at the beginning, we should have spoken of bank and telco. Let's continue on that way. I knew your group in 2005, where we had this big disruption in the telco market, you know, where new virtual network operators were launched. And you were one of the first to go in that way with, it was another name before, but let's focus on what you did. And so you launched your own virtual mobile operator. We are 13 years later. Do you still think it's a sweet spot to have bank and telco mixed?
Yes, of course, because the characteristics of technology is that you are giving up all boundaries between services, jobs, and we are clearly a global multi-service bank. Insurance, real estate, phone, and we are very happy with our phone activity. We have 1.6 million customers, and we are expanding well, and we will continue.
What does that mean? I mean, how many branches do you have? Sorry, I forgot to ask.
More than 2,100. Globally, with CIC, 4,000.
So 4,000 branches, that means it's not bank branches? I mean, I go in, I can do phone, I can buy real estate. I mean, it's what? It's a shop? Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, it's a point of service. And this is the point where you have a dedicated advisor. And this guy or this woman will sell you banking services, insurance contract, protection of your house or your flat, can sell you a new flat. We have around 10% of the housing sellings in terms of new housings. So we are now not anymore a bank, but clearly, and the phone business is a sign of that, we are a global service point for all our customers.
The only other actor I know in France who have done this so big shift is La Poste. When 10 years ago they knew that with the regulations they will lose like 3/4 of the 20 billion revenue in less than 20 years because of the loss of the mails and so on. And they say, okay, let's do services point for everything. Let's build a bank, let's do insurance, let's do everything. You do that because you think your normal classical banks will not feed you enough if you just stay a bank?
Yes. And we do that because we are really techno-native. In other terms, why do we do that? Because we have a single point of entry, which is the advisor. Who is the advisor? Single point in terms of physical contact, phone contact, digital contact, and we have a single file for our customers. And we are able to help them, to advise them, and we are not selling products. We are in a sort of global advice strategy. If you come to Crédit Mutuel or if you come to CIC, you will be able to get all the range of services, and notably long-term services. If you buy a phone, if you have an insurance contract, if you want to buy a house or a flat, you need long-term advice. You need confidence, and you need a dedicated advisor. And the choice we made for this multi-global, multi-services strategy is founded on two pillars: a dedicated advisor, which is the human face of our strategy, and a very strong and very dynamic technological investment, notably with a fully integrated and decentralized IT system. And my personal belief, very strong, is to say innovation must be funded on two pillars: First, of course, innovation, breakthrough, and that's why we are very interested in the part of the ecosystem of the fintechs. Secondly, industrialization. We need to transform that into networks, links, contacts, and customers. And thirdly, decentralization, because I am absolutely sure that in today's world, you need responsabilization, decentralization for confident and close contacts between advisors and customers.
Sorry to ask. I won't speak for your bank. I'm a customer of many banks, but usually...
Congratulations. But you need to choose a good one.
I also use your one, but I don't want to put you in a bad position, so I don't speak about my relation with your bank. Usually, if I ask more than 3 questions on 3 different subjects to my bank advisor, I'm dead. I mean, usually he can answer me on the current account, eventually on my saving if I'm not too complex. But imagine I ask him something, even on a credit sometimes, they don't know all the kind of credit. They say, oh, you have to speak to a professional counselor because you want a term credit and not a classical one. And that's most of the bank. How do you manage to have 4,000 branches with, I assume, a lot of people in it? I don't know how many people you have by your branches, but to all be able to answer to real estate, all kind of bankings, phone. I mean, I have a few difficulties to believe it. How do you manage to do that?
Because you don't believe in technologies and humanity. Basically, you need training and you need technologies. And we are spending 6% of our salaries on training. And we are investing a lot on IT development in order to give to our advisors a fantastically good IT system, exactly the reverse of the digital systems we are giving to our clients.
So they have the same?
They are perfectly compatible. And when we are deploying something for the customer, we are deploying at the same time something for the advisor. Because what we are looking for is not augmented humanity. This is augmented relationship. And what we are looking for is to create confidence through this augmented relationship. And this is possible. We have half of our benefits coming from the insurance business. We have 1.6 million people who have phones in the Crédit Mutuel. And they have the choice between Orange, SFR, and Bouygues Telecom because we have the 3 networks going through our network. So basically, this is a very good choice because at a certain moment, I don't believe that the customer is a sort of multiplicity of personalities. You are, Laurent, a single man with preferences, with demands, with fears, and you want to have a confident long-term advice. We are not selling products, we are giving advice. And technologies and trainings can help us to get that. Okay, this is a challenge, this is a day-to-day challenge, but when I look at the results of our guys, I think this challenge is perfectly doable.
We had yesterday on the gala dinner on stage a Minister for Digital Affairs, and he told us that they are working a lot to change mentalities and to change education, but reality is still that many people, especially in France, because he speaks for France, have difficulties with digital. You told us you spend 6%. Is it enough, or is it something will perhaps grow in the coming years to make sure that everybody is at the same level and you don't let people aside, that the full company is trained to be at this new level of augmented relationship?
Sorry to tell that, Laurent, but
please.
I think you have to have confidence in people. And sorry to tell that in Paris, but when you look at statistics in terms of using digital tools, you can see that the use is coming from all generations, all territories, all levels of revenues, and that's true for the customers, and that's true for the advisors. And the real question is coherence. When you're a bank, when you have a multi-services strategy, you have to have coherent tools. A single customer file, a single dedicated advisor, and a global but confident relationship between customers and advisor. And if I may, we made 2 very strong choices. For example, in our networks, the advisor have no commercial incentives depending on products. All our branches have a P&L. they have a balance sheet, they have a P&L, and in the Crédit Mutuel system, they have a board. And they are responsible on the global result of their strategy. And in their strategy, they can sell credits, deposits, insurance contracts, flats, phones. And that's where, if you have a responsabilization system, which is global, you can create a global relationship with the customers, and you can create confidence. They know that their advisor is not looking for a product interest. They are interested in the global result of the branch.
Any limits to this multi-service? You just mentioned 4 of them, but I mean, will you sell Nespresso things tomorrow in your branch?
I would say that the limit is logistics. Basically, we are selling immaterial services. We are not selling, and we saw that on phones. You know, when you began on the business of phone, which the real difficulty was about logistics of the phone. You remember?
Yep.
You were buying a phone, a physical object, and a contract. Now,
and a SIM card.
And now the division is made. We are selling contracts. We are funding through credit, consumer credit. We are funding the buying of the tool, but we eliminated the logistics.
Speaking of phone, let's come back to just 2 minutes to Orange because Stefan is not there, but globally they are doing exactly what you are saying. Stefan explained everywhere that augmented reality is there, and they are doing multi-services in their branch. But if I may, the difference is their branch, they always say, I didn't check yesterday, but their branches are full, and everybody is saying that the bank's branch are not full of people. So perhaps they can be like a threat to you, or what do you think?
2 remarks. First, and I have really a big regret. I like Stefan, and I even like more to debate with him. And I think it would be a very interesting debate between us. Because next year, basically, okay, we don't have a dramatic decrease of visits in branches. For one reason is that because when you have the same advisor for physical contact, phone, and digital contact, you encourage, notably outside of big towns, you encourage the physical contact. And it's very doable, it's very easy, so it's a very big asset. Secondly, we have very dense networks. And you can see that compared to Orange, we have much more branches. And that's where, including on phones, we are very performing. So the answer is to say, okay, branches are not only physical branches, they are also part of a unique IT platform. Now, the 4,000 of our branches are interconnected on very high speed. So they are part of a unique IT system. So I come back, innovation, industrialization, and decentralization. And the force of our system is to have a very strong and very powerful Euro information system, for example, given to the branches, to the advisors, and to the customers.
Let's get back to the theme of our days, Paris Fintech Forum. There is Fintech World in it. So you were, and I think you are still, a major European actor in payments. And as everybody knows here, payment is a main sector where Fintech began. Like 20 years ago was PayPal, and after all the other one. Could you tell us in a few words how you were impacted by this revolution? Because you have quite big actors now in that sector, sometimes even bigger than banks in some field. We had yesterday on this very same stage the CEO of Wirecard, who is now a big player in payment, for example. How have you been impacted? How are you working with fintechs in that field, in payment and perhaps in other field? Stage is yours on that subject.
Okay, payments, this is the core of the job. We are the first in electronic payments today in France, and the third in terms of flows. And of course, we are working a lot with fintechs, and we created one with Fiverr and now LifePay, in partnership notably with BNP, but also Auchan and MasterCard. And it's very useful for us to have this very strong community with fintechs and to have a very agile and a very flexible organization and proximity management in terms of payments. So what are we doing? First, security. I think this is very important to improve each time, and we saw that with the frauds recently, our systems in terms of dynamic cryptograms, for example, of flexible choices for each customer to personalize his or her card, but also in terms of scalability. And you have Swift coming. We are very proud to have launched Swift GPI and to have a platform which is fully compliant with Nexus standards. So what we are doing in payments is to remain at the top of the technology in order to serve and to securize and to give security and flexibility to our customers. And I think where the fintech phenomenon is very interesting is to be able together between, I would say, actors like banks and newcomers like fintechs to build this mixture of user-friendly security and scalability. And very often I'm a bit depressed to see that the question of scalability, resistance, security is seen from a very distant way. And I think that LivePay, which is our fintech in terms of payment, is the proof that we are able to combine the three elements.
Thank you very much. Time is over. Thank you for coming. Can applause? Small picture.